The Resident Evil series has always been a mainstay of the survival horror genre, giving you a tense single-player narrative and lots of zombie shooting. So when Capcom announced over 2 years ago that it had plans to take the game online, fans didn't really seem to know what to expect. Maybe a massive city teeming with zombies and players young and old fighting the good fight against them? Well, that's what a number of people had hoped for. Resident Evil Outbreak plays a lot more like its predecessors, although it loses sight of a long-winded narrative in favor of a number of bite-sized episodes which can be played through in short gaming sessions. In each section of the game, you can choose from 8 characters to play as. These range from Kevin, the police officer, who begins with a handgun, to Alyssa, the reporter, who can pick locks. Each character has a specific ability, so all of them are worth checking out, and there are some areas that only certain characters can access, so you'll probably identify a favorite pretty quickly. Other than the short scenarios and the multiple characters, Outbreak plays like just about any other game in the Resident Evil series. You basically run through various rooms, solving puzzles that will allow you to escape the zombie menace. As usual, most puzzles involve simply finding the right item and taking it to the right location. You'll heal yourself with herbs and first aid spray and defend yourself with handguns and shotguns, although environmental objects like metal pipes round out the defensive package. As its premise suggests, you won't be alone in Outbreak. You'll be joined in each of the 5 missions with up to 3 other allies, though in the offline mode they're controlled by AI. Most of the time the AI is pretty good about doing the right thing, such as helping you up when you're hanging from a ledge, but too often they're nowhere to be found when the action heats up. However, when they are around, they're pretty good at watching your back. When you're playing online, your compatriots will be controlled by other humans, who ideally are smarter than the AI. However, even if they are, coordinating a true team effort is hamstrung by a very weak communication system. Not only is there no headset support for voice communication, but there's also no keyboard support. Instead, players communicate with a handful of canned phrases which are accessed by pushing the right analog stick in various directions. You can also have a character spit out a randomly generated and contextually appropriate phrase, but more often than not, these are humorously out of place. In the end, these communication limitations can cause the gameplay to devolve into players running confusedly off in various directions and dying alone. Outbreak may be a little clumsy to play, but it sure is pretty. The real-time environments are full of rich detail, with many rooms looking distinct and easy to identify. The models, especially the player characters, feature a high level of detail and animate really well. The game sounds like what you'd expect from a game with a Resident Evil name, and the voice acting is just as campy and ham-fisted as ever before. And while a number of the sound effects are similar to what you've heard before, they're still pretty good, and the soundtrack does a nice job of creating a creepy atmosphere. If you're a longtime fan of the Resident Evil series and you find the idea of sharing the experience online to be interesting, chances are you're already playing Outbreak. And that's really the sort of unmitigated love you'll need to get through the game while ignoring its awkward flaws. If you haven't enjoyed any Resident Evil games in the series up to this point, Outbreak won't do anything to change your mind. It's a pretty good game for staunch members of the Resident Evil audience, but it doesn't really do anything new for people who are already tired of the same old formula.